I've always told people when it comes to white people and white privilege, don't fall for the narrative that they don't know what white privilege is or they fail to acknowledge that they have it. Because every last white person, from the minute that they are born to the minute that they die, have a level of privilege. Now how much privilege they have as a white person is another story. Now that's when you want to bring into like finances and things of that nature. But every last one of them has the privilege to float through society as they do, and a lot of times get away with the things that they do. I have done so many videos on my channel, and y'all know this, especially in the month of July, where you have seen white people, mainly white men, get away with a lot of stuff. But it's very rare that I come on here and do a lot of the things that white women get away with when they're acting in the same vein as white men. Now, the things they get away with more is so teachers sleeping with their students. We've seen that narrative so many times, and how they can pretty much get the thing of not being labeled as a violator or a sexual offender. I talked about one of those in my live streams where this one woman, she was sleeping around with her student and they called it an improper relationship. I kid you not. That's what they refer to it as. But in this story, we have this woman whose name is Meighan Smith, who looks like a methed out version of Kirsten Dunst. I swear, I thought it was her. I was like, what? I said, times must be really bad on Kirsten Dunst. But alas, it's not her. So, what privilege did Meighan Smith have? Well, she's out of Alabama, and she ended up having a shootout with the police. She barricaded herself in her home, and then she ended up surrendering. And this is her mugshot. She was taken in alive, and look at that. She's smiling. She got her face turned to the side, and she's smiling. Like, yeah, I know this. Now, like I said, the level of privilege. This woman knows that she was able to engage in this type of shootout with the police and was taken in alive. And this is coming back to bite the police and law enforcement around the nation in the butt, because they keep letting people like this get off the hook, and they're the ones that's taking them out. But they want to say black people are the ones that's not complying, that we're doing this, doing that. As a matter of fact, I was watching a live stream that Blacklight Revelations was doing, I think on his second channel, and he was watching a video where you had this white man interviewing another white man by the name of Larry Elder, and they were up there talking about a whole bunch of propaganda when it comes to the police interactions with black people, and none of the stuff that they said made any sense. You could have easily paused the video and looked up whatever they were talking about and find that there was no stats to back up anything that they were saying. Nothing. They were just saying stuff like, oh, when the police encounter black people, this happens. Oh, when black people encounter the police, this happens. But they never want to talk about what happens when white people encounter the police, or when the police encounter them, and what happens with them. Of course, over here, we're going to talk about it all. Over there, they're very one-sided, because they have to put out this narrative that black people are so dangerous. It kills me to know that, or hear them say that black people are so-called 13% of the population, which we know is not true. But they'll put out this thing that we're that bad or we're so dangerous. My thing is, how can a very small group of people that you claim is so tiny in percentage-wise, population-wise, is that bad? Because the way y'all make it seem like we're that bad, you would be making a run for the hills. You would be tucking your tail and trying to hide in a ditch somewhere, hoping that the big black boogeyman or boogie people don't come and find you. Yet they'll let this slide. Now back to Meighan. She knows she has a level of privilege because she's seen her peers do the same thing she did and get away with it. This woman is 33 years. She's the same age as me. And she looks 10 years older. She looks like she is in her 40s. According to this article, she was arrested and charged with first-degree attempted assault on July 23rd. Now, keep in mind, first-degree attempted assault. This woman got in a whole shootout with the police, barricaded herself inside of her home, and all she got hit was with first-degree attempted assault. So, no weapons charges, none of that. No, like, other charges. That was it. That's the other privilege that they get. They will give them these lowbrow charges and make it seem like it's this grandiose thing. Yet I just did a video about a black teenager in Baltimore who was defending himself against this bat wielding psycho who was trying to take a swing at them like he was at the Oreo Stadium. And he defended himself against them. He eliminated this man using his power tool. And he gets hit with first-degree murder charges. And this woman shoots at the police and gets hit with a measly first-degree attempted assault. And she's arrested and taken in after a shootout with the police that she had involving them. The article also states that when officers arrived, they spoke with the man who made the call and took us out of the stories. They said they tried to talk with her, but they said that she locked herself inside of the home. So now she's barricaded inside. This reminds me so much of the storz story. It says officers immediately retreated and took up defensive positions. They said they tried to convince her to surrender for 2.5 hours, and then she finally surrendered without incidents. They first took her to the hospital for an evaluation, and then they brought her to the county jail for a $250,000 bond. I don't know why they took her to the hospital. She wasn't injured. Look at her. There's nothing on her face. There's nothing on her body. They said she surrendered, which means she waved the white flag, and they just went and threw the cuffs on her, threw her in the car, took her to the hospital for an evaluation, and then took her to jail on a $250,000 bond. And that's another thing. They keep giving people like her a bond. She doesn't deserve a bond, but they keep giving people like her a bond. I think the thing that sticks with me with this story is the fact of the very low charge that they gave her with that first-degree attempted assault. So you mean to tell me this wasn't attempted murder, just attempted assault? I guess they figure, oh, it was in the first degree. You know, it's bad. You know, we'll leave it because first degree, you can't get any really higher than that. That's the highest you can go. So we can probably throw some major jail time behind. Listen, major jail time for someone like this, considering what she did and how low brow they charged her, is probably about 1 to 2 years. Now, I don't know how many years that something like this actually carries, but I bet you it's not that much. But yeah. White people know the level of privilege that they have, and they flex that privilege every chance they get. I'm telling you, they take cues from each other and they flex it so hard, and then they mimic it because they know they're going to get away with it. There's never any harsh consequences and penalties and punishments when it comes to the stuff that they do. And it's almost like they're throwing it in black people's faces because black people won't even have to do an ounce of the stuff that they do, and we get wrecked. Look at Brandon Calloway. He was the black DoorDash driver who drove through a stop sign, and they literally chased him home, ran up into his home, into his apartment, kicked down the door like they were SWAT, and beat him in the home, and then dragged him outside and beat him some more over an alleged driving through of the stop sign. But they claim that they're under attack. Yeah, you have a lot of white people out here that think that they are so under attack by these cops. Trust, if the score was even, her, Lance Storz, and all the other white people that I talked about in the month of July alone would meet the same fate as Jayland Walker. But as you can see, they're still with us. But again, going back to what I said about Baltimore, the black teenager defended himself against a bat-wielding sicko. And what does he get? First-degree murder charges. She gets first-degree attempted assault. How do you attempt to assault someone when you actually shot at the people? That's not attempted at that point. Like, really break that down. Attempted? No, she shot fire. She shot rounds. Attempted would mean that she just merely pointed the gun at them and no rounds came out. She shot at them. They said she shot through the window. So at that point, it's no longer attempted. And remember the video I uploaded about the one who got like the golden, like I said, if this was the white privilege Olympics, he would win gold. that story is still rattling my brain. I'm sure it's still kind of swirling around in yours too. But yeah, this is white privilege in the flesh, as y'all can clearly see. It is not going anywhere anytime soon. And like I said, they are going to continue to flex that privilege at every moment that they can, because they know they can get away with it. I'm looking at her mugshot and I'm looking at her smiling, and I'm thinking to myself, what may be going through her mind, like, I actually got away with this. So I'm gonna just go ahead and smile in my mugshot because I'm alive. And like I tell you, a lot of white people who do stuff like this, they know in the back of their minds that a black person could not get away with this 99.9% of the time. I'll put it like that. But we know 99.9% of the time they're going to get away with it, and they know that. That's why they keep doing it. Then you got to take into consideration the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing, and that's a whole nother monster in and of itself. Same thing with George Zimmerman. And I think that was like the launch pad. But when white people claim that they don't know that white privilege exists and they know that they can use it, that's a lie. It is a bold-faced lie. They know it exists and they know they have it, and they will wield it whenever they feel they need to. Why do you think every time something happens with them and they feel like they have a level of privilege and something happens to them and their privilege doesn't go the way that they want, they have this look of disdain or this look of shock and awe on their face? Or whenever something happens to them and a family member comes out and gets upset about it, I'm like, what did you think was going to happen to your loved one for doing the degenerate things that they were doing? And a good case in point would be that one in Akron, Ohio, where you had that one shooting those gel guns or those whatever that was at those black guys on that basketball court. He thought his privilege was going to let him get away with that, but he learned otherwise that day when they got him and sent him to meet his maker. Then you had people so outraged by what they did. It's because his white privilege didn't work in his favor, and they were shocked that it didn't. But unfortunately, those guys are now sitting in a jail cell awaiting whatever fate their future might hold. But again, they defended themselves, even though they try to claim that they didn't. Because again, in America, black people aren't allowed to do that. Even when we it's like, F the allowance. We're going to defend ourselves no matter what. If it comes to the point of us having to take the charge, it's just going to happen. It's just the imbalance of it all. They can claim that they're defending themselves even though they're not defending themselves, and get self-defense claims and have people rally behind them. Meanwhile, black people can defend themselves and will rally behind them, but our voices are very, very unheard. And then because they run this system, they'll throw everything at them no matter what. Like I said, stand your ground doesn't work for black people. I can't remember the last time it did, if it ever did. But people like her can throw around a stand your ground if it benefits them, and it'll work, even though it really was a stand your ground. But they always switch the rules when it comes to them. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead in the video on that note. Y'all let me know what you think. Also, be sure, if you are new, to like, comment, and share. Subscribe if you are also new on all platforms: the laptop, the computer, the mobile device especially. All the links will be down below, to my other channel, to my Patreon, and to the Discord. And I will talk to you later.